Yo, it's NBA Finals week, y'all. It's officially here. NBA Finals this Thursday, June 6th. Dallas Mavericks heading into Boston to face the Boston Celtics. Like I said, game one this Thursday, June 6th, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Boston, who had the best record in all of the NBA and, of course, the Eastern Conference, is getting set to host the Dallas Mavericks. And as of today, FanDuel has the Celtics as the minus 220 favorites to win the series, and Dallas is a plus 184 underdog. So if you want to go make some money, do what I did. Go throw that money on the series. I'm not going to tell you just who yet. It's going to come at the end of the series, but maybe you'll know. Maybe you won't. Maybe if you saw some of my other videos, you might already know who I think is probably going to win. But for game one specifically, Celtics are a minus 255 favorite. Betting wise, Dallas a plus 210 underdog. So kind of very similar to what the series line is, or the money line is, for the Celtics and for the Mavericks. Pretty much everybody going with the NBA favorite and team that's been in the conference finals. I think something 6 out of the 8 last year's the Celtics. So how did they get here? Dallas beat the Clippers in round one. They beat OKC in round two. Then they knocked off the Minnesota Timberwolves in the Western Conference Finals, or round three. And then the Celtics, how did the Celtics get here? Celtics beat the Heat in round one. They beat the Cavs in round two, and they beat the Indiana Pacers in round three. The biggest thing on their end is that every series that the Celtics won, the other team was missing their star. So in the first round, the Miami Heat were without Jimmy Butler. Second round, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Donovan Mitchell went out. Jared Allen was out the majority of the series. Then in the Eastern Conference Finals, an already beat up, like limping Tyrese Halliburton got hurt again. Didn't end up finishing the rest of the series. So although Boston had the best record in the NBA, had the best record in the Eastern Conference, a lot of people kind of not giving them a lot of credit for what they did in the Eastern Conference playoffs. They've only lost 2 games, but like I said, all those teams missing their best player. So take it for what it is. It is what it is. They're still here. They still have a chance to win the finals. They have a chance to go down in history as one of the best teams in terms of this like point differential, where they stand in a lot of these different statistical categories. So a lot of things can change just with this series alone. You know, the Celtics, they can either look like a great team right after this, or they might be getting broken up. And on the other hand, the Mavericks, a lot of people think that they're kind of like ahead of schedule since they just got Kyrie last year. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. 2 people in their starting 5 they just traded for this season in terms of Gafford and PJ Washington. And then another big player in their rotation, Derek Lively, they just drafted him. And then another player, Derek Jones Jr. just picked him up this year too. So Dallas, probably a lot less pressure in terms of having to like win it, if you want to look at it that way. But still a lot of pressure on Luka, man. Luka trying to go down as one of the all-time greats. All right, sorry, guys. I got to turn the low power mode off of my iPad. I hate when that happens. When you have it on low power mode, it just makes the screensaver close a lot faster. Things that grind my gears. First world problems. So, man, let's go right into some key stats. So I was looking at an ESPN article, or was it on NBA.com? I don't even know which one, but shout out to them. They had like 24, 25 different things, different stats out there that are, some of the keys to the series. So right off the rip, Luka's averaging 28.8 points, 9.6 rebounds, and 8.8 assists. If he holds on to those numbers or maintains them through the NBA Finals, he'll be only the third person. If he holds on to that, he'll be only the third player to average 28, 8, and 8 in the playoffs, joining LeBron James, who did it twice in 2015 and 2018, and Nikola Jokic, who did it once in 2023. So big stats right there, man. Luka, a lot of people talking about Kyrie heading into the series, of course, going back to Boston, which I'll get into later. But Luka's been on an absolute tear. You look at those 2 people right there, Jokic, LeBron, 2 of the best players in the last 20 years in the NBA, and 2 players that carry their teams to an NBA championship. So Luka on a historic run, doing his thing. I'm excited to see how that kind of plays into the NBA Finals. It is his first Finals. Not everybody always has success that first one, but he's also played in a lot of meaningful overseas games, played in stuff when he was a teenager. So I don't think it's going to be the same. The Mavs, they're the only team in the last 3 postseasons with multiple wins in games where they trailed by 17 or more. And on the other hand, the Celtics are 10-0 in games when they're led by 10 points or more. So something's got to give. Both teams on kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. Pretty much that means the Celtics have been on lock once they're up. And on the other hand, Mavericks, you can't count them out with that Kyrie, Luka duo. They're both just right there all the time. They can always bring you right back into the game. There's nothing that anybody could do about that but try to contain them. The Celtics and Mavs are just the 5th and 6th team to reach the finals that have a better playoff away record than they do at home. So neither of them have like a terrible record either away or home, but they're both better or have been better so far on the road. A lot of that on Dallas' side has to do with the fact that they were the 5th seed. So they've been on the road every series. They haven't been the home team at all so far. And then for the Celtics, they've only lost 2 games and 2 of those were at home. So obviously they're undefeated on the road, but still playing some of those lesser opponents. Celtics, something that's kind of played into it all season, 47.4% of the Celtics shots have been from three-point land in the playoffs. So Celtics have just kind of lived by the 3, died by the 3. They make a ton of them. They have, virtually every player right now that gets on the court for the Celtics can hit a 3. So it's not surprising. And obviously Joe Mazzulla, that's kind of his strategy. He wants to shoot a ton of 3s. They want to get them all up there. But we've seen that everybody pretty much besides the Warriors, it's come back to bite them in the ass when all you do is shoot a bunch of 3s and try to hope and think that that's going to be the way you get to the game. So Celtics, almost half of their shots coming from three-point land. And I don't know if they've faced a team or an offense. Obviously, the Pacers are prolific, but they don't have those players like a Luka or a Kyrie. And I forgot who was talking about it today, but man, if you could think about it, the Pacers were giving it to the Celtics. Pause, but with Nembhard, and who else was it? Like Neesmith out there and Pascal Siakam. So Siakam, obviously a former All-Star. Nembhard, good player, good young player. But can you imagine what Luka and Kyrie might be able to do if they get rolling? And obviously there's less like tape and all that on what Nembhard's going to do, but not on Siakam. And Siakam was still giving them buckets. So Luka's like a 10,000 times better version of Pascal Siakam. No offense, but it's going to be a scary sight. So far we got Luka averaging 28, 8 and 8. If he does that, only the 3rd player ever besides LeBron and Jokic. The Mavs are the only team in the last 3 postseasons that have won multiple games where they trailed by 17 or more. And the Celtics, on the other hand, are 10-0 whenever they lead by 10 points or more. And then the Celtics and the Mavs are just the 5th and 6th team to reach the NBA Finals when they have a better playoff away record than they do at home. And 47.4% of the Celtics shots have been three-pointers, so they rely a lot on that 3 ball. Celtics, they've only allowed 8.3 second chance points per game, so that means when the other team shoots the ball, they've only given up 8 points a game pretty much after that, so that's pretty great in the NBA. And that'll be the fewest by any team in any playoff team in the last 7 years. And on the other hand, the Mavs have retained 31% of available offensive rebounds. That's the 4th highest in the playoffs. So one team pretty much not giving up any offensive rebounds. The other team up there always getting offensive rebounds. And with those people we were talking about, players like Gafford, players like Derek Lively, additions like Derrick Jones Jr., PJ Washington, the Mavericks can hit the boards. They hit the boards hard, but so do the Celtics. So we're looking at so far all the stats kind of lining things up. This is a lot closer matchup than it kind of seems when you look at a 1 seed versus a 5th seed. So next stat right here, Mavs lead the playoffs with 4.6 corner three-pointers per game, and the Celtics opponents, only 18% of their opponents' three-pointers come from the corner. So the Mavs getting the most 3s in the corner makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Kyrie, Luka, they're both attacking the middle of the court. The corner's wide open. PJ Washington has been getting a ton of corner 3s. Derrick Jones Jr. And surprisingly, Jr.'s hitting them at almost like the same rate that PJ Washington has on kind of the overall grand scheme of the playoffs. So they're wide open. They're getting shots that are going to be there. I think a player to look out for in the finals that's coming back for the Mavericks. He did play the last 2 games in the Western Conference Finals, but it's going to be Maxi Kleber. So he's got a sniper 3-point distance. He's also like 6'10". So maybe in a game where Derrick Jones or PJ Washington aren't doing as hot, Maxi Kleber has that opportunity to come in. Lively, we don't know what he's going to look like from the concussion, so Kleber could play a big role. But regardless, those corner 3s are going to be huge, both on Dallas has the most attempts and makes, and then so far for the Celtics, they're holding their opponents to, that's not even a shot that they're allowing so far. So Celtics going to be flying around. Mavericks, the ball is going to be flying around. More exciting basketball. So Luka right now, he leads the playoffs in both assists on 3-pointers. He has 50 and assist on dunks, 49. So just the same thing like the last stat. Mavericks get a ton of corner threes. Luka's getting these threes right there. Or if you've been watching the games, every other play seems like it's a layup or a dunk for Gafford or Lively just kind of rolling to the basket. And Luka has when you play basketball, they always teach you, do not throw a jump pass. When you jump in the air, you should not be throwing a pass. But Luka, one of the best players ever in the NBA, and just kind of like LeBron does it very well, is they'll get up in the air. They're so big, so strong, but they can make every pass. They'll see everything, and at the last minute, boom, they'll drop it off. Luka did get called for an up and down or a travel in the last game when he went up, and they said he didn't get the ball off in time, but one of the best players at doing that. So Celtics going to have a handful. They pretty much fire on fire, ice on ice, and just everything right now. I'm getting excited just talking about it, and I feel like such a damn basketball nerd right now, but fuck it. Dallas lineup. All right, next topic. So far we got 7 stats. We got 3 more to go, guys. So Dallas lineup with Lively has allowed just 98.5 points per 100 possessions. That's best amongst 8 lineups that have played at least 100 minutes this playoffs. So that's huge. No kidding. I don't even know how else to say it, but for a rookie to be coming in and honestly and pretty much leading a team on the defensive side, he talks a lot. He has a lot of energy. Gafford, very similar, but Lively, I think, moves a little bit better in terms of sliding with some of these guards out there on the perimeter. But that lineup with Lively, only 98.5 points per 100 possessions. And in this day and age in the NBA, it's crazy to think that somebody's even under 100 for that stat. So Lively going to be a big crucial role. We'll see if he's able to come back. He somehow cleared concussion protocol. He did get hit again in the head, but we'll see if he's able to stick it out, which I think he should be able to. There's still a couple more days to go. But next stat, and pretty big here, and he gets a ton of hate. I don't know if it's justified or not. I probably partake in the hate, but Jason Tatum leads the playoffs in cumulative plus minus. I don't know. I was thinking about cumulative. Damn, I'm surprised how good I said that. That now it made me mess up saying Celtics. So let's run it back. Jason Tatum leads the playoffs in cumulative plus minus. Celtics have outscored their opponents by 141 points with him on the court. So, with him on the court. So Celtics, obviously a good team, obviously a better team with Tatum, but him out there on the court, the best cumulative plus or minus. So no denial. A lot of pressure on Jason heading into this one. We're on a first-name basis. But a lot of pressure on him going into this series, going into game 1. A lot of people saying Celtics got to have game 1 or things can kind of turn quickly on them, but we'll see. Mouth just dry as hell. And last stat here, guys. The Mavs are plus 8.2 with Kyrie Irving on the court, minus 19.4 with him off the court. The biggest on-or-off differential amongst 52 players who played at least 250 minutes in the playoffs. So obviously Luka gets all the love. Kyrie, his wingman, his Batman, whatever you want to call him, or Robin to his Batman, he's kind of been that X factor, the difference maker for the Mavericks, having that other person off of Luka that can create, that can hit a shot. And it seems like every time we get into that last minute of the game, it's either in Luka's hands or Kyrie's, and it really doesn't matter. Both of them are getting a bucket. But there's just a lot of different stats. We just went through all of these right here, and all of them just kind of lead me back to the center of this is going to be a close series. It's pretty much a coin flip. It could go either way. A lot of people saying, the Mavs kind of just got hot and that's how they're here. And the NBA historically, it's the best team always kind of has the best record, but things are changing, man. NBA, especially the Western Conference, a lot of parity. This year, if you paid attention to the stats, the first 3 teams from the first to third seed, they were within 1 game of each other heading into the final day of the season. So everybody's a lot more bunched up. When you look at the rosters, teams are just trying to stay healthy, trying to, mesh to get into the playoffs. Dallas has been humming, clicking all at the same time, all at the right time. And they're kind of facing the opposite, which is that you could, I guess, say juggernaut, the Celtics that have been number one in the East, number one in the NBA virtually all season. And maybe if some of those teams they beat in the East, their players were healthy and Celtics would have beat them, they'd be getting a little bit more love. But everybody kind of, downplaying the Celtics. They've had the best record. They've had the best team. They technically, if you look at it roster for roster, they definitely have arguably the better, names roster. And it's still going to come down to, if you look at the player for player, and I thought about, doing that on here, is going, if you do a draft in the top 10 players of the series, you probably do have like 60, maybe 7 or 6 of them coming from the Celtics, but you might have the top 2 coming from Dallas. So there's a lot of argument. Is Kyrie better than Tatum? I think we're going to for sure say Luka's number 1. Then after that, is it Tatum? Is it Kyrie? That's up for debate. And then for sure, number 3, if it's not Kyrie's not 2, he's definitely 3. Then you got Jaylen Brown. Then you got everybody else. So Mavericks definitely got top 2 out of 3, maybe both top 2 players in the series. So does that outweigh the other team having maybe 6 of the top 10 or 7 of the top 10 players? We're going to find out. But man, I'm excited for Thursday, guys. It's going to be one of the best finals. And I'm kind of salty because I'm in a softball league and my game is at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to be out there with my phone locked in. We got some parlays cooking up. I already put a bet in, but I don't want to say what it is because it's going to give away my pick, which I'm going to save for the end here. But let's get into a little bit more here. So big storyline, man. A big storyline coming in. We're just talking a little bit about Luka, talking about Kyrie, talking about the Celtics, Tatum, Jaylen Brown. But a big thing, and today I was watching some Game of Thrones, and I actually watched the Battle of the Bastards, is the Battle of the Backcourts. For the Mavericks, you got Kyrie, Luka Doncic. And for the Celtics, you're probably first off thinking Tatum, Jaylen Brown. But for the backcourt, I'm talking about Derek White. I'm talking about Drew Holiday. And you might not remember, but those 2 guys are both all-NBA defensive second team this year. Drew Holiday's been on the first team. Drew Holiday's won an NBA championship. So you kind of virtually have offense versus defense. Drew Holiday probably on Kyrie. Actually, no, I'm going to say Drew Holiday on Luka, probably Derek White on Kyrie, and you got that offense versus defense. It's going to be a battle, battle of the backcourt. Who do you think can kind of take that? Is it going to be a little bit of going back and forth? You still got Jaylen Brown that you could stick on Luka. You still got Jason Tatum that you could probably stick on Luka and Kyrie, and vice versa with Jaylen Brown. But that's a big battle back there, man. 2 all-NBA defensive players against 2 of the best NBA scorers, NBA closers in NBA history. So, Luka Doncic, I don't think anybody's really slowed him down. The closest thing's probably like Lou Dort so far on OKC. He's definitely a little bit bigger than Drew Holiday in terms of just kind of strength and stuff. But Drew Holiday, a beast amongst himself. Derek White, I think he probably has the potential to give Kyrie a little bit of trouble just because he is pretty quick. He's really lanky. So, the thing with Derek White is that he recovers really good on defense. So Kyrie has a good tendency to get past people. And Derek White, obviously all NBA defender, always comes back on defense, has a lot of, chase down blocks from behind. But Kyrie, probably the best finisher in terms of guards, like in NBA history. So who knows how that goes? I still think Luka and Kyrie, I'll take the offense in this day and age, especially when you can't get like too physical over that. And the thing with Kyrie and Luka is, a lot of players kind of like shy away from some of the physicality. Luka and Kyrie just kind of seem to lean into it. Luka's giant. He plays like a guard, but he's 6'8", big as hell, just kind of, lulls people to sleep, gets to where he wants. And then Kyrie, quick, fast, best handles ever in NBA history. So I'm going to have to give the battle of the backcourt edge to Luka Doncic, to Kyrie Irving. I know Drew Holiday and Derek White have that defensive prowess, but, it's going to be really hard for them to truly, have to wear down Luka and Kyrie. And they're going to throw a lot of bodies at them, but that's nothing new for Luka. That's nothing new for Kyrie. And a lot of people still talking about Luka's injuries. We know he's dealing with the knee injury. I think with the little ankle injury right now, but he's had now like a week pretty much to rest. So you got a week, that's a lot of time in an NBA facility where they have like every piece of technology to heal you up. They're going to shoot him up with some stuff again. He'll give us some more Kurt Schilling vibes with some blood coming through on the knee sleeve or whatever he's wearing, the compression pants down there. But get ready, man. Battle of the backcourt. It's going to be shifty. It's going to be crazy. I think game one will be like a feel it out game, especially for Kyrie and Luka, to kind of see what type of coverages are going to come at them, what they're going to do, what shots they're probably going to give up to them. And it's going to be exciting in Boston, man. Boston probably excited for the second probably best white player ever besides Larry Bird and Jokic, so maybe third. But Boston, hearts are broken. Can't cheer for Luka, the white guy, but they'll cheer for Boston. And it's going to be exciting. And that leads right into the next topic, y'all. Bigger return story. Kyrie Irving back to Boston or Kristaps Porzingis heading back to Dallas. So Kyrie played in Boston for 2 seasons, and then he left in free agency, and that's when he went on to join Kevin Durant on the Brooklyn Nets. He gets booed virtually every time he goes back to Boston. And a lot of that mostly started right away, but a lot of it got worse when he stomped on the leprechaun or the Celtics logo at midcourt in 2021 during a playoff visit. Somebody threw a water bottle at him. Kind of silly, goofy stuff, but a lot of Celtics fans excited to boo and hate on Kyrie when he gets back. Porzingis, he spent 2.5 seasons with the Dallas Mavericks. He was on the team with Luka, got traded midseason to Washington, kind of to NBA purgatory. There is a clip of Chandler Parsons talking about, that relationship and that Luka actually doesn't really like him. So we haven't heard too much about that, but let's see if we can find this clip. I'm pretty sure it's on X. But, you got all the drama that you need, man. So both of them didn't spend too much time in those other cities. Kyrie only 2 seasons in Boston, but he did make the All-Star team both seasons. And then you also had Kristaps in Dallas. It didn't really work out. He was kind of still working through some injuries. Luka was still a little bit younger. But, in your head, you can picture that duo, Porzingis, a pick and roll with Luka, and it just wasn't what it was. Let's see. Hold on, guys. Trying to get in here. Always want to play when you want to use it. But Kyrie back to Boston. Let's see. Why won't it work? Let's see. X. Chandler Parsons. Here we go. Sorry for the technical delays, y'all. All right, here we go. Make this a little bigger. We'll make this bigger too. All right, so here's what happened. Oh, I made myself too big. So that's kind of the quote. Don't get it twisted. They don't like Kristaps Porzingis in Dallas. Luka did not like playing with them. There's an actual beef there. KP is getting booed. And let's listen to it real quick. There you go. Hold up. Oh, no. Oh, there we go.
Is an actual.
It was just a mute button, guys. That's when you're like scrambling mentally. I was like, Mr. Krabs meme. It was a mute button, guys. All right, let me be quiet. Let me be quiet.
It will be way more, violent towards Kyrie Irving in Boston, no doubt. But don't get it twisted. They do not like Porzingis in Dallas. Luka.
So you can speak to that.
Luka did not like playing with him. There is an actual beef there where it's going to be every time he touches the ball, he's getting booed.
Really?
And
There's a real beef there.
Really?
Why?
Is that a scoop?
No, I think that's known. I think it's known. It didn't work out. And Dallas, for whatever reason, those fans, they're way more, violent
Turn it
towards
back. If you already
Irving
listened
in
to it,
Boston,
zoom
no
through.
doubt,
If you couldn't hear it,
don't get
I'm
it
playing
twisted.
it
They
again.
do not like Porzingis in Dallas. Luka.
So you can speak to that.
Luka did not like playing with him. There is an actual beef there where it's going to be every time he touches the ball, he's getting booed.
Really?
And
There's a real beef there. Why?
Is
that a scoop?
No, I think
Interesting.
that's known. I think it's known. It didn't work out. And Dallas, for whatever reason, those fans, they're proudful. They're like, if you're hurt, if you're not playing, if you're not doing what you were doing the years before you got to the Mavs, They don't like it. And
I feel like we don't know this because it wasn't loud like the Kyrie
Well,
stuff
it wasn't
was
Kyrie
loud.
stuff because, again, like Lou just
Shout
said,
out
Porzingis is
FanDuel.
like
Shout out
Kyrie
FanDuel
Irving, but
TV.
There is a situation here. And I remember even
Chandler
when I would leave
Parsons,
teams in the regular
sick
season,
flow.
when you go back and play that team, you want to prove something. You want to show them what they're missing. You want to. The game has
like
more
10
juice to
seconds.
it. Now we're talking about the NBA Finals, and this is how it's matching up. So, yeah, I think there definitely is more motivation for both these players. It'll definitely be more gnarly in Boston for Kyrie Irving, but I guarantee you Porzingis gets booed every time he touches it.
Really?
Hey, he said it though. And for those of you that don't know, Parsons did used to play on the Dallas Mavericks. Got a bag from them. Got hurt. One of the biggest finessers in NBA history. Shout out Chandler Parsons, University of Florida. Stand up. And shout out to the Flow. And shout out Lou Williams, Michelle Beadle, and FanDuel TV. But you know that this adds to more of the glory, more of the drama for the series. Kyrie going back to Boston. He's going to get booed. It's going to be crazy. A lot of people talk a lot of smack about Boston. They say that it's like racist and all that stuff. I have no idea. I've been there like 2 times, and I don't think I even talked to anybody. So who knows what happens in Boston, but they're going to be going off. They're going to be booing Kyrie. They're going to be booing all of Dallas. Kristaps going back to Dallas. He's going to get booed. Everything's just like stars are aligning for the series, guys. We went through some of those big stats. You see things are going to get close. The stuff that Dallas does that's good, the Celtics are able to stop. Celtics kind of known for, jagging a little bit at the end of the games, not always being able to close. Dallas, on the other hand, 2 of the best closers this year in the NBA, pretty much NBA history. Kyrie's hit a Game 7 game winner in an away stadium before at Golden State. To knock off the team with the best record in the history of the NBA. So Luka himself, just another star in the making. Kristaps Porzingis, that's the kind of guy that he is making the return. He hasn't even played most of the postseason since suffering a calf injury. So it's going to be interesting to see. They do need him pretty badly. Gafford, Lively, 2 big bodies that are super athletic up there. The Celtics rely on, Al Horford currently. Who else they got? They got Tillman on the bench. That's not really playing a ton, but they're not as big, as athletic as the Celtics, who has Luke Cornett. They used to have Robert Williams III. They got rid of him, so that might be a factor that kind of comes into play. If Porzingis comes back, how effective is he? What can he really do? Is he going to be able to, stop the other team's best player? Is he going to be able to really produce anything? So that's kind of the interesting part that is going to come into play when it is what happens to Kristaps Porzingis. But I'll say the bigger return story, 100% Kyrie. Kristaps, yeah, he had those seasons there. Nobody really expected much at that time. Kyrie, when he went into Boston, they already had a young Tatum. They had a young Brown. At that time, they picked up Gordon Hayward. So a lot of people were looking for Kyrie. That's when he wanted his own team. Like, okay, here's his moment. He's going to help the Celtics. It's a storied franchise. He said he was going to stay there. And then whoop-de-whoop, he's gone. He dips out to Brooklyn, comes back, stomps on the Leprechaun, then has his whole thing in Brooklyn where he doesn't play, gets vaxxed, doesn't get vaxxed, all that stuff. So, it's been a long time coming. Kyrie's got this chance, kind of like a full circle moment to make an impression again. And I think he's going to have a big series. I don't think anything that happens in Boston, whatever the fans say, hoopla, hippity hoopla, it ain't going to bother him. Kyrie's a dog. Kyrie's got it. He got it, boy. But the last big story here, man, and it has to be something that obviously a lot of stuff talking about Kyrie. Obviously, Boston Celtics going for, I believe, their 18th NBA championship. They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals almost every year the last 8 years. But the superstar, the main man, the number 1 name for the NBA Finals right now, Luka Doncic, his first NBA Finals. A lot of people already pegging him as, one of those top 20, top 15 all-time NBA players. And let's just look at some of these accolades, guys. So this is Luka Doncic's first Finals, but he's a 5-time NBA All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team, NBA Rookie of the Year in the 2018-2019 season, NBA All-Rookie First Team, NBA Western Conference Finals MVP, NBA Scoring Champ in 2024 this season. And that's just in the NBA. If you want to go see his accolades, go on Wikipedia. He's got you got to scroll at least 2 times to go through everything he's done in the NBA so far in the brief time that he's been here. And then all the stuff that he did already in Europe, everything he did in Real Madrid. He made his debut in 2015 at just 16 years old. So you can imagine this dude's already been playing that's 9 years of professional basketball. Go on Twitter, look up some of those games. It's absolutely insane. They're like lighting stuff on fire in the bleachers inside. So Boston, they're probably going to have some verbal fire for him. Who knows if he even catches all the like innuendos and all the little jabs. And that's kind of the funny thing when you don't grow up here is you probably, maybe at first, he's been here for a minute, so he probably does, but maybe you don't even catch all the BS that they're talking to you. But he was, a lot of people already forget when he entered the NBA in 2018, 2019. Yeah, he won the Rookie of the Year, but he was selected third by Atlanta. Then he actually got traded to Dallas for Trae Young. So a couple years back, Trae Young made the conference finals. People were already like, "Yo, was the trade fair?" Luka's now made 2 Western Conference Finals, and now an NBA Final. So I think it's safe to say, and the Hawks didn't even make the playoffs at all. They made the play-in game, but beat the Bulls. Not saying much, but shout out to the '93 Bulls. But Luka already in the NBA Finals. I think it's safe to say Dallas definitely won the trade. Trae Young, great player, probably going to be moving this offseason, or some stuff's going to get shaken up in Atlanta. But Luka looking like the cornerstone, not only of the Dallas Mavericks, but, a cornerstone of the NBA and that new kind of era that's coming into play right now. So Luka Doncic, first NBA Finals. I'm excited. He's probably definitely my favorite player right now in the current NBA. Shout out to my dog. Literally, my giant schnauzer named Luka. That was named after Luka Doncic. So that was a good choice so far. Shout out to that one. I was thinking about going with Rudy Gobert. So obviously I went with the better choice. Nah, just kidding. I would never name him after Rudy. Little goof ass got crossed up, twisted, put in the ballet dance by Luka. But Luka's first NBA Finals, accolades on accolades. So, I went through a lot of the stats. I went through some of the narratives. And from my perspective, I think it's going to be a close series. I think it's going to probably go the full distance. A lot of people, and obviously FanDuel's, the books, they all have the Celtics as the favorite. Celtics have been kind of the favorite all year. And it makes sense. The team, the nucleus, especially kind of the main parts, have all been together a lot longer than they have on Dallas. But we all know this is not only like a new NBA, just kind of like a new sports era where all the stuff we used to think about, like what does a team need to do to win, blah, 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 blah. Some of that stuff you just got to kind of get rid of it at this point. It's a different world. A lot of these European stars come into the NBA just from different circumstances. Teams nowadays, they're not able to kind of last as long together due to like different rules that they have now with acquiring and how much you could pick everybody, or not pick, how much you could pay people. A lot of movement in the NBA. So, everything's different. Back in the day, you probably have a team that at least they give them like 3 to 5 years. Now you might get 2 to 3 years, switch you up, switch the coach out. So things change, move a lot faster. And this year we're going to have our 6th different NBA champion in 6 different years. So things change fast in the NBA. Things have been changing fast in the sports world. A lot of people say, do the Mavs really have a chance? I definitely think they have a chance. When you have the best player in the series, when you arguably have the second best player in the series, and you definitely have the second most, or the first most experienced NBA Finals of winner, the only one probably. Let me think on the Celtics. I don't think any. Well, Drew Holiday. So it's kind of similar, but things match up. You look at that. Look at the starting lineups. You got Luka, you got Kyrie, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Derrick Jones Jr., and then on the other side, you're going to have Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Derek White, Al Horford, maybe Porzingis, depending on how that looks. So it's going to be exciting, man. Very different type of teams, different types of matchups. Celtics rely on a ton of threes. Mavericks kind of rely on Luka and Kyrie to penetrate, to create. A lot of teams look at them differently. A lot of people look at the teams differently, I should say. The Mavericks kind of looked at as more as that dog. They got that edge. They have that. And the Celtics kind of considered a little bit more soft for whatever reason that it is. But let's get to the bottom of it. Let's get to what matters. Who am I picking? So my pick for the series, already plugged into FanDuel. I've been talking about how much I like Luka, but I do know that the Celtics technically have the better team in terms of the deep roster. in terms of being together for a longer period of time. But I just got to go with the Dallas Mavericks, guys. So I'm going with Dallas in 7. I think Luka and Kyrie, they're rolling into Boston June 23rd. It's on a Sunday. I think it's like at 7:30 o'clock at night. And I think Luka, Kyrie, Game 7 Boston, go in. They rip the Boston Celtics fans' hearts out. They rip the players' hearts out. And I think that kind of just ends the perfect way to this postseason. They've been the underdog in terms of seeding every series. They've come back from 17-point leads. They didn't even make the playoffs last year. So I think Dallas finishes off their little Cinderella-esque run. Luka gets his first NBA championship in Game 7 in Boston, June 23rd. So we're going to have to wait a couple of weeks to see if it comes true. But Game 1 is this Thursday, y'all. This Thursday, June 6th. But I'm going with Dallas in 7. And that wraps up on June 23rd. So drop a comment, leave a like, freaking hit the subscribe button, guys. Let's build the Ant Farm. Let's see what's happening. Let's see, are the Mavericks going to come back in another series win like that? I could see it. Celtics shoot a lot of threes, but Dallas in 7. We ain't giving up now. I'm putting in the order for the Luka merch. I don't know if it's a jersey. I don't know if it's a jersey. Is it a graphic tee? But we're getting something, y'all. Dallas in 7. Stay classy. Stay crazy. Never lazy. Nothing fugazi. Dallas in 7. Let's go.